Welcome, folks. Appreciate you tuning in as always. I'm Rick Andrews. As always, if you have any questions involving mountain real estate, you can reach me at 828-557-9139. That's 828-557-9139. Or you can email me at rick@callrickandrews.com. That's rick@callrickandrews.com. Last couple weeks, we've been reviewing why hire a real estate agent for sale by owner sellers versus real estate agents. Today, we're going to dive into if you should decide to hire a real estate agent, questions you may want to ask them. You're trusting an individual or hopefully a team of folks to sell perhaps your greatest asset. Last thing you want to do is just hiring anybody off the street. Last time, I want to say there's 1,700 real estate agents in the local board. There are a lot of agents to choose from. I'm hoping today to give you provide you some questions that maybe you can use to help differentiate agents. I'd always interview, I recommend at least 3. I think Dave Ramsey recommends 3, but you want to interview some agents, find out not only who you think will get the job done, but who would be a good fit for you. Don't just hire an agent, you want to grill them. It's a job interview. They're selling perhaps your greatest, most valuable asset, so make sure you grill them with tough questions. All right, let's dive into those questions. The first one would be, how long have you been a real estate agent? Just simple, you want to know their experience. But a follow-up question to tie into that one is, how long have you actively been selling as a real estate agent? We live in a second home market, and there are a lot of folks that come to our area that may have had a license since 1970. You know, I got a license straight out of high school, but they've not sold for years. They pursued some other career, and finally they move up here, quote unquote, retire, and decide to actively sell real estate. So I would ask a two-pronged question. How long have you actually been selling real estate? That is, how long have you been actively selling real estate? Just because you've had a license for 20 years doesn't mean you've actively been selling real estate for 20 years. So differentiate the two. Make sure you bear down on that question, in that the question isn't how long have you been licensed, but how long have you actively been selling real estate. Question 3, how long have you lived in this area? We live in God's country, one of the most beautiful areas I've ever been in, and agents move up here all the time. One of our feeder areas, of course, is Florida. A lot of Florida agents move up here, and there's some benefit, of course, to getting an agent that knows the area, knows good from bad, so to speak, up here. So make sure you ask, how long have you been a active real estate agent, and how long have you been an active real estate agent in this market? You want to make sure that they've been active for X amount of years, but it has been in this market. They understand the nuances of buying and selling real estate in the North Georgia mountains and Western North Carolina mountains. Fourth question, do you work full-time as an agent? We mentioned we have a lot of folks that retire, Florida retirees move up here, and they work part-time. You know, I'm retired, I work a few hours a week selling real estate. May not be who you want to sell your home if you're ready to make a big move. It may be if you've got all the time in the world to buy and you're a good fit, but you want to make sure you hire a full-time professional, not a part-timer, would be my recommendation. There's probably plenty of great part-timers out there, but you want to make sure if it's a need, and a need now, you want top dollar, quick sell, I'd hire a full-time professional. Question number 5, do you have a broker's license? Now in the state of North Carolina, A few years back, they went all brokers. If you're in the state of North Carolina, or you're dealing with an agent in North Carolina, he's going to be a broker. He or she's going to be a broker. You can become a provisional broker, but then you have to take additional training quickly within some time limit to get your broker's license. Georgia still has salespersons and brokers. I'm a broker. Of course, I would recommend a broker. I just think there's additional training there, additional experience and time. Typically, the training and experience is what you want. Number 6. Do you have any professional designations? That is extra training. Some folks get their license and they comply with the Real Estate Commission's rules on continuing education, but that's it. They get a minimum amount of training, thus they have a minimum amount of knowledge. Agents can avail themselves of numerous extra training. There's buyer representation training, there's seller representation training, there's actually second home and resort market training, there's GRE, there's just a myriad of classes that agents can take to sharpen their skills. There's classes on negotiations, there are classes on broker price opinions, coming up with appropriately pricing property. These are all types of designations. That extra training may be something that gives you an edge or gives your agent an edge. So one of the questions I would ask would be, do you have any professional designations, any extra training? Additionally, kind of a follow-up to question 6 would be, do you train with a real estate coach? There are a myriad of coaching programs for real estate agents that help them be the best they can be. They do extensive training in marketing. If you want top dollar and a quick sale, you want an aggressive marketer, and there are plenty of real estate coaches out there that coach. You can get coaches of varying degrees, some once a month, some twice a month, some weekly. There are coaching programs where you actually are coached weekly on how to be a more effective agent in getting properties sold. Additionally, you may ask if the agent has had any special training representing just sellers or just buyers. Depending on if you're looking to buy or if you're looking to sell. There are also numerous trainings throughout the year. I just got back from 3 days in Nashville. A kind of a techie agent was training on Google and YouTube and different social media platforms that most folks look today. I want to say they said that the average consumer in our country spends over 3 hours a day on social media, and it's important when you're trying to get something sold that you're where folks are, where the eyeballs are, so to speak. In the old days, the eyeballs were on ABC, NBC, and CBS. I can remember when Fox came along and they were the young upstart. Now it's no longer ABC, NBC, CBS. It's YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok. I still don't get TikTok, but anyhow, that's where your eyeballs are, and that's where you want to make sure your agent is trained. Are they familiar with the different forms of social media? I can remember when Facebook first came out, I thought how ridiculous, but I sell homes through Facebook every day, a lot, I'll say, through Facebook. It is amazing how many folks actually go on Facebook and search for areas. YouTube also, but those are your 2 primary ones. So I would ask them what kind of specialized training they have, and I would also, along those lines, I would Google them. I mean, I would research the agent. I would look at their marketing. I'd go to Facebook, see if they're on Facebook, see how many followers they have. If they have a great deal of followers, that tells you that when they list your property and they do a video of your property, and you want to make sure they do some form of video because that's where most eyeballs go to. They do some videos, they do some still shots that they post to a large following on social media. That's in our market, I think, very important. And we kind of talked about marketing last week, but those are some of the things that you want to ask them about as far as their training. Are they familiar with all the means by which to market your property? You don't want an agent that just gets a listing, places a sign, places it on the MLS, and then prays, the 3P. Now, I'm pro prayer every day, but you want someone who also hustles. I went on a listing presentation recently, and I sit down at the table, and the guy says, "This is a job interview." And my first question is, what are the 2 most important takeaways you've had in the last 30 days in selling real estate? And we were there for about an hour. Him peppered me with questions. Fortunately, got the listing, but you want to make sure whomever you hire has the skill set, the training, the resources to get the job done. All right, question 7. How many houses did you sell in the last couple years or the last year, some period of time? The average U.S. agent sells anywhere from 2 to 10 homes based on their years of experience. That's not a whole lot of sales. And this question, a lot of time people look at, well, how many sales have you had? They look at it, maybe not from the right angle. The more they sell, the more resources, financial resources they have to adequately market your property. It costs a lot of money hiring professional photographers, drone photographers, 3D Matterports, getting it out on the different forms of social media, the internet, if they do print marketing, newspaper. That's expensive. And say you have an agent that in the last year has sold 10 properties. Average price point in our market right now is around $380,000. But an agent, let's say they make $100. First off, they're probably paying their brokerage 20-25%. Then they're living off that other 80 to 75%. Of that 80 to 75%, how much are they allotting toward marketing? So when you ask someone how many homes or how many properties have you sold in the last year or so, yes, it's important that they have a good track record, but it's also important that you know they have the financial resources from what they've sold to be able to adequately market your property. Question 8, how many sales were buyer versus seller sides? It's a different set of skills. Nowadays, folks specialize. If you go to a podiatrist with chest pains, you may be dead. You go see a cardiologist, and I'm not saying doctors and realtors, huge gap there. Got a son that's a doctor. I know the training he's had to go through. Huge gap as far as necessary training, but you want to inquire, if you're hiring someone to sell your property, how many homes have you sold versus how many times have you represented the buyer? If you're working with an agent as a buyer's agent, how many times have you helped folks find homes? Make sure you differentiate their skill sets, because it really is a uniquely different skill set. Question 9, do you specialize in certain types of properties? There are agents that, when I think of land, there's certain agents that come to mind that work with large, even down to large tracts. There are agents that I think of when I think of lake. There's an agent in our area, as your man on Lake Chateau. He is a phenomenal agent on Lake Chateau. Got a lot of respect. He's done it for many years. You want to find out, do they have a specialty, whether it be land, all the way from vacant lots up to large tracts, to certain homes, certain price ranges, from like your small cabin in the woods, or do they specialize in luxury homes? I can remember one time getting an invitation to an open house that was just made open to about 10 brokers, and I asked the agent, you've only invited 10 agents, and they said, well, that's because truthfully these are the 10 agents that most likely are going to bring me a buyer for this property. They're specialized in luxury properties. Lake homes, I mentioned there's a tremendous agent in our area. Your man on Lake 2 does an excellent job and has vast experience in selling on the lake. And finally, commercial real estate. We don't have a whole lot of commercial real estate up here, but there are agents that specialize in commercial real estate. So besides years of experience and track record, I definitely want to see if they have any type of specialization. What is your experience with selling land? What is your experience with selling lake homes would be the question. Do you specialize in a certain geographical area? There are agents that just sell in Towns County or just sell in Union County or Clay County. You want to make sure that they specialize in that area. I can remember years ago I received a call from an individual that had a listing, about $1 million, over in Cherokee County in Murphy. I turned it down. I looked at it and I was envious, but I didn't feel like at the time I was the right guy to get the job done. No one likes turning down $1 million listing, but truthfully another agent in that market would have done a better job than I, and I'm transparent with the folks, and they went with another agent, rightfully so. You want to make sure that the agent you hire knows your geographical area, knows your subdivision, knows your town, all the nuances, because really, especially in the second home market, you're not just selling the home, you're selling the area, the nuances. Folks that buy second homes are really buying the lifestyle. They're buying the ability to come up here, kick back, and unwind, a little peace and quiet. Question number 11, how would you prepare my home for sale? What changes, if any, do you recommend? And here's one of the items we touched on previously when we were discussing whether to go FSBO, for sale by owner, or hiring an agent. Any good real estate agent that is full-time will have a list of vendors that they're experienced with and have had good results. I will tell you that has become more and more difficult in the last few years. I used to have a long list of folks I could recommend: plumbers, electricians, handymen. That has become rather difficult in the last few years because a lot of them have gone back to full-time construction. But that said, an agent should be able to walk through your property and make some recommendations. Say, for example, you're listing a home. I normally have what I call my 3 Ps. You want to get the personal items out. You want to make sure that it is properly cleaned, and you want to just thin it out. You want it to look as large as it can. So if there's a room and you've got 2 couches, maybe you can get rid of one of the couches. Go rent a storage facility. Finally, question number 12, will you provide me with a comparable market analysis, what they call a CMA? Will you provide me with a CMA? You need to let the agent see the home. I get calls all the time. I'm thinking about listing my home. It's a 3-2. How much do you think I can get for it? I normally answer them back. I got a truck in the backyard. How much do you think the truck's worth? You really have to see the property. Packy just gave me the 1 minute finger. We have 1 minute. I got 2 more questions and we'll hit them fast. How would you market my home? 2 shows ago, we went into great detail on what I think is necessary to aggressively market a home. And then finally, question 14, do you work solo or do you work part of a team? By team, do you have support staff? I'm here at radio show right now, but a few secretaries that if you call and you want to show a property, they make the job happen. I'm Rick Andrews. Please give me a call if you have any questions regarding mountain real estate. I appreciate you listening. Thank you.